third semester, Optics and Electrostatics paper, chapter 9, Electric Dipole. Dielectrics. Dielectrics are actually insulators. They do not have any free charge carriers, therefore they do not conduct electricity. They are insulators. Insulators which are polarizable. When you place an insulator in an electric field, then that insulator will be polarized. We will learn further what is polarization. When an insulator can be polarized, when it is put in an electric field, then it is called a dielectric. Dielectric materials are the insulators which are highly polarizable. This polarizing property is a useful one. Among dielectrics, there are two types. Polar dielectrics. In the dielectric materials, there will be atoms and molecules. If the molecule of a dielectric material has a permanent dipole moment, before placing in the electric field, if it has a dipole moment, then the molecules are called polar molecules, or the material is called polar dielectric. For example, N2O, H2O, HCl molecules have permanent dipole moment. In them, there is a separation between net or effective positive charge centers and effective negative charge centers. There is a separation, and the molecule itself behaves as a dipole. They have a permanent dipole. In the bulk material, these dipolar molecules or the dipole moments in them align randomly. On an average, the total dipole moment is 0. Even though they have permanent dipole moments, in the bulk material, these dipole moments are randomly arranged. So on an average, the total dipole moment is 0. Net dipole moment of the material is 0. But when you put this polar dielectric material in an external electric field, then these molecules will be reoriented, or the molecules will be oriented in the direction of field. Dipole moments are oriented in the direction of external field. Then the material acquires a net dipole moment. Non-polar dielectrics. If a molecule does not have a permanent dipole moment, then it's a non-polar molecule. And the material containing such molecules is a non-polar dielectric. Example, O2, N2, CO2, etc. These molecules do not have any permanent dipole moment. The charge centers of the negative and positive charges coincide, and there is no separation and no dipole moment. They are non-polar dielectrics. But when you put this non-polar dielectric material in an electric field, then there is a stretching of the molecule. Negative charges slightly move towards the positive or opposite to the field, and positive charges move in the direction of the field or towards the positive of the electron. There is a slight separation between the atomic nuclei and the electron clouds. Electron clouds are shifted slightly towards one side, and the atomic nuclei are shifted slightly towards the opposite side. Then there is a separation between the positive and negative charges, and the molecule acquires dipole moment. This is called induced dipole moment. All material gets a sum of all these induced dipole moments, and material is said to be polarized. Let us study this polarization in detail. When a dielectric slab is placed in a uniform electric field, for example, between the parallel plates of a capacitor. Inside a parallel plate capacitor, there is a uniform electric field. In such field, put a dielectric slab. Here, the dielectric may have permanent dipoles or may not have permanent dipoles. If the material has dipole moments, permanent dipole moments, then the dipole moments are oriented in the direction of field. And if the molecules do not have any dipole moments, then the dipole moments are induced. Then, due to this mechanism, there will be layers of positive and negative charges on the opposite faces of the dielectric slab. These charges are called induced surface charges. Look at the diagram. External field is from left to right. External field is from left to right. And there are layers of induced charges, plus charges and minus charges. Plus charges moved in the direction of field and minus charges moved in the direction opposite to the external field. And these induced layers of charges produce their own fields. And that field is from plus to minus. And that field is from plus to minus, and it is called internal field. That is, internal field is opposite to the external field. Then the net field inside the dielectric is the sum of these two fields. Actually, the external field is reduced by the internal field due to the induced charges. External field actually polarizes the material. The internal field opposes this polarization. Therefore, the internal field is also called depolarizing field. The net field inside the dielectric is a smaller one compared to the applied field. That is, the effect of dielectric placing in an external field is to reduce the applied field. This is a useful property. Inside a capacitor, when dielectric is placed, the dielectric reduces the actual field between the plates. Without dielectric, there will be more field. When you put the dielectric and it gets polarized and it develops its own internal field, and which is opposite to the applied field. Therefore, the net field inside the dielectric is lesser. This causes the potential difference between the plates to be reduced. When potential difference is reduced, there will be more acquisition of charges on the capacitor plate. Therefore, capacity of the capacitor enhances. And when the field is reduced, the electrical energy stored per unit volume in the dielectric material will be more. If you consider an individual molecule, when field E is applied on the dielectric, this field E acts on individual molecules, and the individual molecule develops a dipole moment P, and that dipole moment is proportional to applied field. It's a linear one. Individual dipole moment is proportional to the applied field, or P is equal to proportionality constant into E, alpha E, where alpha is called molecular polarizability. Polarization. There are different types of polarizations. Electronic polarization. When electric field is applied on a dielectric material, electron cloud around the nucleus is shifted towards the positive side of the field. Nucleus and the center of the electron cloud are separated by some small distance, and a dipole is created in each atom. This is called electronic polarization. Electronic polarization is nothing but the shifting of the electrons, shifting of the electron cloud. Electrons are shifted, electron cloud is shifted under the action of applied field. This is the electronic contribution to the polarization. Ionic polarization. If the metal is an ionic one, like sodium chloride, if the metal is an ionic solid, on application of electric field, positive and negative ions are moved in the opposite direction. They are moved towards the respective electrodes. And because of this movement, there is a separation between the positive and negative ions. This also develops a dipole moment. This is called ionic polarization. Orientation polarization. In polar dielectric materials, in the absence of field, each atom or molecule has a dipole moment. But when you consider the bulk material, these dipoles are randomly arranged and the net dipole moment of the whole material is zero. But when field is applied, this external field creates or applies torque on these atomic or molecular dipoles, and due to the action of the torque, these dipoles are aligned. They will be aligned in the direction of field. This type of polarization is called orientational polarization. Space charge polarization. Space charge polarization occurs when there is accumulation of charge between two electrodes because of an electric field. Next thing is Lorentz local field. What is this local field? Here is a dielectric material placed between the two parallel plates of a capacitor. These two are the electrodes which are connected to a battery. There is a electric field between plus plate to minus plate. That is the external field, the external applied field. External field is from plus to minus. This field passes through the dielectric material. Dielectric material is polarized and it develops an internal field opposite to the external field. And the external field and internal field are combined and there is a net field inside the dielectric. There is an average field or a net field inside the dielectric. That field is actually a macroscopic field inside the dielectric. Okay. Inside the dielectric, there will be atomic dipoles or molecular dipoles. There are many atoms which themselves behave as dipoles. There are many dipoles. If you consider one dipole at a point, for example, C, if you consider a dipole at C, what is the field experienced by this dipole at C? Is it the average field inside the dielectric? No, it will be a different one. Each individual atom or individual dipole experiences a different field, which is experiences a field which is different from the net field inside the dielectric. So that field is called local field. Field experienced by a dipole in a dielectric when it is in an electric field is called local field, or it is called Lorentz field. How to calculate the field actually experienced by a dipole placed at C? Now, what are the fields that may this C experience? See, there are charge layers on the electrodes, capacitor plates. There are charge layers on capacitor plates. These charges produce an electric field. These charges produce an electric field. That is one field. And due to the polarization of the dielectric, on the outer surfaces of the dielectric, there will be layers of charges. These charge layers produce one more electric field. These charge layers produce one more electric field. That is second field. Okay. Now, imagine a spherical region, a ball-shaped spherical region around this atom at C or dipole at C. Around the dipole at C, imagine a spherical volume or a spherical cavity. And imagine that the spherical cavity is taken out. The spherical cavity is taken out or scooped out. Then what remains? You will have a cavity. On the surface of this cavity, there will be charges. See, this side plus charges and this side minus charges. On the surface of this spherical cavity, there are layers of charges. And these charges actually contribute one more field, that is the third field. And next field, inside the spherical cavity, inside the spherical volume, there will be atomic dipoles. Those atomic dipoles also contribute electric field at C. So there are 4 fields. One field is due to the charges on the capacitor plates. And second field is due to the layers of charges on the surfaces of the dielectric. And third one, the layers of charges on the imaginary spherical cavity. And the fourth one, the field due to the dipoles inside the cavity. The net field seen by the dipole at C is called the internal field EI. That EI is equal to sum of all these 4 fields. Let us calculate one by one. Here, E1 is the field at C due to the charges on the plates of capacitor in the absence of dielectric. Before placing the dielectric, E1 is the field at C due to the charges on the plates of the capacitor. Then that can be taken as E1 is equal to D by epsilon naught. The D is electric displacement. Electric displacement D is equal to P plus epsilon naught E. Substituting this and simplifying, E1 is equal to E plus P by epsilon naught. Here, E is the net field inside the dielectric, average field inside the dielectric E. P is polarization. Epsilon naught is permittivity of free space. Second field, E2, is the field at C due to charges induced on the opposite sides of the dielectric. That field E2 is equal to P by epsilon naught and minus. Why this minus? The field due to the charges on the surface of the dielectric is opposite to the applied field. Therefore, minus sign is taken. E3. E3 is the field at C due to the other atoms in the cavity. Neighboring atoms in the cavity. Here, for an isotropic material, these dipoles are arranged in such a way that total dipole moment will be 0. Therefore, the field contributed by the atoms inside the cavity is 0. Net field is 0. Last one, E4. E4 is the field produced at C due to the polar surface charges on the cavity surface. Let us calculate the E4. For that calculation, we have taken this cavity. In the cavity, take a thin strip, circular strip. Take a thin strip like a slice of an onion. You cut out a slice in the cavity, spherical cavity. Then you will get a strip, circular strip. Here. Okay. This is the direction of polarization. X direction is the direction of polarization. From the direction of polarization, the one edge of the strip is making an angle theta, and the other edge is making an angle theta plus d theta. Other edge is making an angle theta plus d theta. That means this d theta is the width of the strip. This d theta is the width of the strip. It's a thin strip. Width of the strip. Angular width of the strip is d theta. Okay. This strip is actually a circular one. This strip is actually a circular one. It has got a radius y. Radius y. Now, let us calculate the area of this strip. Area of this strip, circular strip. The radius of the ring is y, and it is equal to r sin theta. This y is equal to r sin theta. That is radius of the ring. Radius of the cavity is different. It is r. The total area or the surface area of the ring is equal to circumference. Circumference into thickness of the ring. Circumference is 2 pi into radius. That is circumference into thickness of the ring. Thickness of the ring. See, this angle, this is theta, and further angle, this is d theta. This angle is d theta. This angle is d theta, and distance is r. Then this will be r d theta, arc length. This becomes a arc length. This arc length is equal to distance into angle, r into d theta. D theta should be written here. R into d theta gives the arc length, that is the thickness of the strip, r d theta. Therefore, the area of the ring is equal to circumference into thickness. Now, polarization vector is along x-axis. Polarization vector is along x-axis. And we further calculate the charges on the surface of the strip. We will now calculate the charges induced due to polarization. Charges induced due to polarization on this strip. Here, polarization vector is along x-axis. Charges are induced on this circular strip. Actually, a component of the polarization vector is effective in creating the charges on this strip. A component of the polarization vector P is effective in creating the charges on this strip. This is P vector. To accumulate the charges here, a part of the P vector is giving a contribution. That vector is actually P cos theta. That is, P cos theta is responsible. P cos theta is effective in accumulating the charges on this strip. Component of P normal to the strip is P cos theta, and this P cos theta is the part of the P which is contributing to the accumulation of charges on the strip. The charge on the area dA, total strip, the charge on the total strip dq is equal to polarization component P cos theta into area. Total charge on the strip is equal to component of the polarization into area. That gives the total charge on the strip. Total charge on the strip. These charges accumulated on the surface, strip surface, the charges accumulated on the whole strip surface are creating an electric field. Electric field. And the whole charges on the strip create an electric field. But all that electric field is not responsible in polarization. Only the component, only the component of the field which is in the x direction is only effective. Therefore, the first let us find the field due to the charges on the strip. The field due to the charges on the strip is dE4 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into charge by square of the distance. Charge by square of the distance. But the whole field is not effective in creating polarization. Therefore, a cos theta component is taken. If you remove the cos theta, then that will be the field due to the whole strip. But cos theta component is effective in polarization. Therefore, dE4 is equal to number of epsilon dq by r square into cos theta. Substitute for dq. Then you will get dE4 is equal to something. We are interested in calculating the field due to all the charges over the cavity. Now we have made a part calculation. Field due to the charges on the strip. But we need the field due to all the charges over the entire cavity surface. For that, we need to integrate the above expression between the limits 0 and pi. 0 and pi. Then that covers whole cavity. After integration, this E4 is equal to P by 3 epsilon naught. So the total field experienced by a dipole at C, that is the internal field experienced by an individual dipole, that is EI, internal field, is equal to sum of 4 fields. Summing the 4 fields we have obtained earlier, the remaining thing is internal field EI is equal to E plus P by 3 epsilon naught. P by 3 epsilon naught. This is the expression for the local field or the Lorentz field. Interesting thing is, actually this E is the net field inside the dielectric. E is the net field, macroscopic field inside the dielectric. But EI is the individual field seen by an atom or a dipole. This field is, internal field is different from the macroscopic field E. The average field, the macroscopic field through the dielectric is E, but an individual dipole sees a different field, which is greater than this average field, because internal field EI is equal to E plus something. Therefore, the internal field, the actual field seen by a molecule or a dipole is different from the net field or average field inside the dielectric. Thank you.